and we both happen to be seniors in high school right now. And today we wanted to give like a little more intimate, in-depth conversation, especially for our underclassmen, our upcoming juniors, and new seniors next year about our experience in high school and so far our college application process. And we're going to be giving you all the tea and all the information that we can to help you be better prepared for this moment because it was a struggle, especially with this school year. And Maya, I'm sure you can agree and just speak on how stressful the college application process can be, even high school altogether, leading up to this. So, my first question for you is how would you describe your high school experience? And looking back on it, what do you wish you had known?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel that to describe my high school experience in one word would be surprising.
Mm,
I did not expect to see myself where I am now. When I attended Overton High School, and when I first joined, I auditioned for Kappa Drama, which is our drama department. And now, as a senior, I am in the creative writing department. I've had the opportunity to be publicized, and I've had the opportunity to create different works of art, which I didn't think I was going to be doing when I first became a freshman.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and the second part of your question, advice I would have given, my younger self, and to those that are in high school now would be to be open to new experiences. Don't be closed minded because doing one experience can change your life if you give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I would agree with you. It was definitely not what I expected it to be. High School Musical lied to me. Um,
It did. It really did.
I I would say be open-minded to other people because I came in thinking like, oh, people are just gonna help me. Everyone's just gonna be on my side, and but you have to be mindful. Like there's so many other different students around you, and that's how the world is going to be. You need to learn how to work with people who are different from you, and that will help you in the long run. It can help you build like team leadership skills and all that. And I would just say, yes, overall, be open minded to getting to know your fellow students, the people around you, because, like a great woman said, you go further when you go together. And I wouldn't have been able to become the woman I am today or come to this point in my life without the friends and the people that I have met in high school. But I digress. So, kind of building off of that question, what more specifically, what advice would you give to juniors who are about to come into that college application process? How has it been for you so far? And what do you wish you also would have known in this new step that you're in your life?
Oh, that's good. For my rising seniors coming up, I seriously suggest that you create a spreadsheet of the colleges that you want to go to. It was very helpful for me to be able to keep track of when some decisions were coming out, when the deadlines were, because when you apply, you also have to apply separately for scholarships because they don't always include them when you apply firsthand. So scholarships may have a different deadline than before. So being organized, keeping a spreadsheet of everything that you have is very helpful. And I would also suggest to also be open minded. Don't just pick one school to apply to. I know everyone has their dream school that they want to go to, but have more options, just don't have one.
Definitely good advice. I don't think like the college that I'm planning to go to now was definitely not on my list 4 years ago. And you never know where you're going to end up. It's really crazy how life works. But start as early as you can. Start tomorrow, start today if you can, on researching things like what type of courses you'll be taking, what type of career can you have with this major that you're thinking about. And people will tell you, oh, you're young, you have time to think about that, it's okay. And that's true, you do have time until you don't. And you may be rushing to try to figure out what you want to do, and then all of a sudden those same people telling you you have time are putting pressure on you to figure out where you want to go. Isn't that crazy how that works?
It
But
really is. I've had so many people, when are you committing? What school are you going to? I'm like, please stop pressuring me to make this, because this is a very delicate decision that you make, because you're committing somewhere for a year, whether it's close or further away. There are a lot of aspects that go into that, and it just can't be, based off of your likes from it.
yeah, and definitely if you can tour it, even if you have to virtual tour, do what you can in order to figure out where you where you think you want to go, even if you're not 100% sure, even just knowing a little bit about the path that is going to be probably one of the biggest decisions that you'll make in life. And it doesn't even have to be specifically going to college, but becoming an adult, coming into adulthood, beginning to actually make serious decisions for your life. For a lot of people, this will be like the first biggest decision of their life that they will make. And you can't just, oh, I'm just going to wing it. It's not that type of decision. It's really serious, but I guess my advice from my experience right now to people would be kind of like what you said. Make sure that you're researching, make a spreadsheet, but also talk to people to see how they feel about the colleges. Oh, apply to scholarships now. I wish somebody told me there were scholarships for freshmen. There are scholarships for freshmen. Any freshmen listening out there, you can apply for scholarships now for college, juniors. It's it's literally endless. And I would suggest you actually apply to as many like $250 ones, because those big 10,000 ones, so many people are applying. You can apply, but it comes down to like a lottery at some point, like whoever gets chosen, and you want to do things that will work out most likely in your favor, because it's a really competitive game out there. It's like it's just crazy. But is there anything you would say, Maya, that Shelby County schools can do to prepare the seniors of next year for college?
I wish I would have had more knowledge about college as a junior. As a
Mm-hmm.
junior, we were focused more on our grades, which of course is very important, but we never thought beyond our grades and what we were going to do afterwards until it got to the end of junior year. Had I known about the scholarships that I could have had as a freshman, I definitely would have done that. So I feel like even starting out as ninth grade, it should be something that we focus on, like, what are you going to do after high school? Because I know you're in it now, but what's going to happen afterwards? So having that mindset of always thinking of your next step is something that I can see improvement in.
Mm, that's a really good advice. And they do offer us programs like college fairs, career fairs. We get those at least once a year at every school, I would assume. I know I've seen them from middle school to high school. We've had, our annual college fair, and we get to talk with colleges and they get to tell us information about themselves. And that's kind of where the first steps usually begin for students on figuring out what they want to do in the future or with the rest of their life. And I would say just emphasizing that more. If we could get more of that, a more variety of that, because um, it's usually kind of the same booths, every every year, but making sure that you are speaking to every student, because not everyone wants to be a doctor, not everyone wants to be a lawyer. Some people want to go into hospitality. Some people want to go into things that I guess this society would claim to be, I guess, taboo or unrealistic careers. But you never know where someone's true passions and true purpose may lie. So making sure that you have representation for everyone is definitely important. But moving on, kind of building off of that question, what support do you wish you would have had from parents, the school, or even the district in your process?
I can answer that very quickly. Not just thinking about the money. When
Mm,
I got into one of my colleges yesterday, I informed all of my family members, and the first thing they said, "Is it a full ride?" There is no congratulations, there is no I'm proud of you.
mm,
And it's just it needs to be acknowledged that hey, your child, your family member got into this school first.
yeah,
Then go into okay, so let's talk about logistically how much money that you have. What do we need to do? Not just only thinking about the money, but taking recognition that it was hard to get into that school and take some time to appreciate that first. How about you?
that was a great answer. I completely agree. Nothing else needs to be said. But no, seriously, I would totally agree to that. Like, I feel like from all over, from all three of those aspects, I'm I hear more like, did you do this? Are you doing this? Did you get that? Instead of praise for at just getting in general, or just doing doing something, I guess, that is now seen to be the minimum, but is actually such a great accomplishment. And praising people for even just the little things, it can help motivate you to achieve bigger and to do more. Like, it's just, it's so frustrating sometimes being in this position. You're like, I'm trying my hardest, and then you keep hearing people say, well, are you making sure that you're doing this? You still have to keep doing your work. Oh, but you have a meeting coming up, and it gets really overwhelming. And even having a sliver of like getting into a really, really good school and having praise for that, that could go a long way. And it acknowledges how hard you've been working. And it's proof that you like have been working so hard throughout these years that you were able to get that accomplishment. So I
And
totally agree with you.
yeah, for those that are going to be rising seniors, when you apply and when you get that acceptance, whether someone is going to praise you or not, please do not, push it to the side as if it was not a big deal. Because when you apply to that school, it was very important to you. And the fact that you got in, you should always praise yourself because it is an accomplishment. Whether someone is going to, make it seem as it is important like it is or not, really appreciate yourself because it took a lot of work for you to do that. And self praise is important when you're going through this college process, whether you get in or get out, or, you decide to go or you don't, whether you have the money or you don't. Just knowing that you were able to get this far and you should acknowledge that.
Yes, that was beautifully said, Maya. And now I just wanted to like tell you some tips that I found from like Vermont EDU on for us high school seniors on college and what we should be preparing for. And if you have anything that you want to add to this list, and honestly, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, you can start now on these things. But one of the first things is discipline yourself. So, what would you say to that? What does that look like for people who don't really understand what that means?
Time management is a big one. You
Mm,
have to, because when you get in college, you're going to have to learn how to manage it on your own. There's no one that's going to be there to be like, hey, you need to get your work done. You have to learn that you need to learn what is important to you and take responsibility for that.
definitely. And I would just add on to that, like, when I hear like disciplining yourself now, what that means for us seniors is doing things before the deadline, even though like we would have so much more time when we were younger, well, when we were freshmen and sophomores to just kind of do leisure activities. And as much as we would like to, we have to say, I really need to do this application right now, or I really need to apply for this scholarship. And that's something that's really important. Telling yourself, like, okay, I really need to do this. It's like choices. But brushing up on studying skills is another one. This is my Achilles heel personally. I, what do you have to say, Maya?
I should definitely take that tip. When you go to high school, you have to complete 2 years of a language. Yes, 2 years. I do not remember anything in French except maybe a few words, and I wish that I knew more. And I still have all of my books. I never threw them away, so I would definitely brush up. And I'm gonna take that tip as well and do that this summer since this is gonna be it before college.
Yes, it is. And the last thing on this list that really sticks out to me is taking, this is for all my freshmen and sophomores, taking advantage of advanced classes in high school. And this is probably one of the most important things I would say when trying to get into one of your top schools or a school that is very prestigious and you're trying to get into it. They really look at test scores for one, just to be honest. As much as we do not like taking tests, they're still, as far as today, the standard of acceptance and getting the money in order to get into school. And second, after that, I would say is your classes, the types of classes that you are taking currently in high school and how they impact your GPA. Because, AP advanced placement classes, DE dual enrollment, those are the classes that hold a lot of weight. And when colleges see that, it really piques their interest. Not to say that honors classes or regular classes are not good at all. It's just a fact that they hold a little more weight, they add more points, and they could even keep you from taking certain classes you've already taken in college. So, Maya, do you want to add on to that?
I can definitely agree. Thinking about classes, looking back as a freshman, I wish I would have known going into high school that I could look at all the classes that were offered. Because when I think of the classes that were required that I had to take as a senior, I would have just wanted to take the classes that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
I would have
Yes.
organized it much better. I took classes that I really didn't need to. And once I had already fit the requirement, I should have moved on. Instead, I took extra classes that, though they had interest, I could have gotten the hard ones out of the way so I could have a more smooth senior year, which is what
Yeah,
I want.
definitely agree. I would say my senior year has been one of the hardest years of high school, and that's minus COVID-19 actually. And it's because I really didn't take as much advantage of taking those harder courses my junior year. And I wouldn't say I regret it because, everything happens for a reason. I'm taking the classes now, and that'll help in college later. But when you're leaving high school, when you're a senior, it is supposed to be one of the most memorable years of your life. And you don't want it to be a bad remembrance, or you don't want to look back and have a lot of regret on it. So that saying, work hard and rest later, definitely applies to, I would say, high school life. If you get as much done out the way as you can, then you'll be having a very smooth senior year. Yeah. But it is coming up on 4:45, and we don't want to take up any more of your time, but I hope this was really beneficial beneficial to some of you freshmen, sophomore, even juniors out there, and seniors. Um, One of my last tips before before becoming a senior in high school, do the FAFSA as soon as possible. That's something,
Please.
yes, something that parents, it's gonna help you get a bunch of financial aid out the way. And the sooner you do it, it opens up October 1st. The sooner you do it, the more money you get. And it's just one of those things that it's a must have. But other than that, I hope this really did help. Maya, do you want to add anything? Any last words?
I would add for those that know what they want to do straight in high school, don't be afraid to start building that career that you want now. Because I didn't start it until my junior year, and I realized that I really could have done more, and I've done a lot. And it's okay to start building your brand now because it is important to know what you want going into college. And if you don't know what you want, you'll be able to figure it out. Just being able to start things that you love is a huge tip when being an adult, is to go after what you love doing.
Yes, couldn't have been said better. Thank you so much, and hope to see you all soon.
That was awesome, ladies. I think that was probably one of the best ones yet. And I think coming from a parent that kind of went through that process with my son, particularly a son that was high achieving and wanted to get into more prestigious colleges and all of that. I think this is gonna, I know you did it for students, but when we post this on our page, and I'm gonna make sure to post it on my personal Facebook and Instagram page, because it's gonna help parents also so much. Especially the beginning when you talked about people in your family not being excited about the hard work you put in because they're looking at the money and things like that, but also just helping guide your students starting, I would really say ninth grade, encouraging them to take the ACT and the SAT early and get it out of the way, because I tell students all the time, your senior year only really counts if you're not doing well and you need it to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Your senior year does not help you get in college.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about getting in college is based on your 9th, 10th, and 11th grade year. And most students that get the big scholarships apply during the summer between their junior and senior year.
Mm-hmm.
Because schools have made their decision about who's going to get that big money before the end of your first semester of your senior year. And I learned that through dealing with my son. When he got out of school for a Christmas break, he had already been accepted into all of the major schools that he wanted. And he had started to get scholarships. The later you wait to apply for scholarships, the less money that's available. So I encourage students to start taking the ACT and the SAT early, 9th grade. Take it in 9th grade. Take those math courses and those science courses. Take it again in the 10th grade. And then by the time you get to your end of your junior year, you have 3 to 4 really good scores that can help you get in college, get to the college that you want to get into. Hopefully, one day we don't have to worry about test scores and things like that. But we know test scores is what keeps us divided, basically. It kind of separates the haves and the have-nots. It's used. Research shows that minority students don't do as well as people that are not Black and brown when it comes to test scores. So we know that that's probably going to remain in place because for that reason alone. But I really appreciate you all for sharing that information. And I think it's going to be very beneficial to our students as well as our parents on how to help our students, kind of guide them, to give them, this was a really good roadmap for how, to apply for college and how to prepare for it. So I just want to say I thank you guys for doing such a fantastic job. And, you know, those of us at the Department of Student Affairs, we're going to miss you as you guys move forward. And this is not our last one, of course, but, you know, we're getting there really quickly. I mean, it's the middle of May almost. And, but I just want to say thank you for doing a really good job today. To our hostesses today, Nina Collymore from Middle College and Maya Jones from Overton High School, the Department of Student Affairs. We thank you. And 88.5, we're out.